Hi there, and welcome back to Clarkenomics. In this video, we're going to talk about the most important thing for any company, and that is, of course, profit. So, calculating profit, there's a very simple formula that we can use to get that. Profit is equal to total revenue minus total cost. So, total revenue is all the money a company brings in from selling their product, and total cost is all the money that they have to spend to make that product. So, if we get a positive answer to this equation right here, we're going to call that profit, right? It means that how much money they earned from selling their stuff is greater than how much money they spent in order to make that stuff. So they have leftover money. That's what profit is. If total revenue is greater than total cost, we've got profit. If the answer comes out to be negative, we're going to call that a loss. Unfortunately, the total cost of producing what they produce is greater than the total revenue they got from selling that thing. So it costs them more to make it than they're going to earn from it. So that's loss. That's bad. And if they make exactly zero, right, if TR minus TC comes out to be zero, we call that breaking even. So they got just enough money in revenue to cover the cost of production. So they didn't have a profit or a loss, they broke even. Now, when it comes to like how to make a profit, there's a lot to this, but what any firm can decide is how much of something should they produce to maximize their profit, right? They want their profit to be as big as possible, or if they're taking a loss, they want their loss to be as small as possible. So the big marginal question that firms have to answer is how much of this thing should I produce? And in previous videos, one called cost and one called revenue, we looked at a pizza producer called Pete's Pizza. And our question on this slide is how many pizzas should Pete produce in order to maximize profit? Now, we said that the marginal revenue that Pete gets from selling pizza is $18 because that's the market price of a pizza. Pete doesn't have any control over that. He's a single firm in a perfectly competitive market where there's tons of sellers all selling the same thing. So Pete's marginal revenue is always going to be $18 per pizza. And that means his total his total revenue rises by $18 every time, right? So that's linear. We also said that every time Pete produces a pizza, he's going to incur a cost to produce that pizza. So the marginal cost was the cost of producing each pizza. So the first pizza cost him $5 to make, the second pizza cost him $10 to make, and so on. And from that, we can generate total cost. So as Pete produces more pizzas, his total cost goes up and up and up by whatever marginal cost is. And so now that we have all this information, we can calculate Pete's profit in this column. And this is easy because we already have the formula for this, right? It's total revenue minus total cost. And we've got total revenue right here, and we've got total cost right there. So if Pete produces one pizza, his total revenue is $18, his total cost is $5, that's going to leave him with a profit of $13. 18 minus 5. If Pete produces two pizzas, his total revenue is $36, his total cost is $15. Pete's profit is going to be $21. So right away, if you only have these two options, should Pete produce one pizza or two pizzas, he's making a profit either way, right? Because total revenue is going to be greater than total cost in both of these instances. But which one should he choose? He would choose to make two pizzas because his profit's going to be higher. But we can keep going. For the third pizza, 54 minus 30 gives us 24. For the fourth pizza, 72 minus 50 equals 22. 90 minus 75 is 15. And 108 minus 105 is $3. So there is no situation here where Pete is going to take a loss, right? Total cost never exceeds total revenue. But is there a best option for Pete to produce, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6 pizzas? Yes, there is. Look where the profit is the greatest, where profit is maximized. And that's what we're looking for. So in this case, how many pizzas should Pete produce to maximize profit? You can probably tell, but the answer is 3, right? When Pete produces 3 pizzas, his profit is $24. And if you look at any of the other numbers there, they're never going to be bigger than 24. That's how much pizza Pete should produce, 3 pizzas. So we can graph this information. We can graph Pete's profit, just like this. And you'll see if we graph it out, there's 24, that was the biggest profit option available. There's no other quantity that produces a profit of 24. So that's where Pete should produce, right? Always where profit is the highest. All firms always want to maximize profit. Now, this might sound a little familiar if you watched a video called Marginal Analysis because the concepts here are pretty similar. Specifically, when we look at marginal revenue and marginal cost, right? Marginal revenue was always $18, as you can see, flat line right there. Marginal cost started off as 5 but ended as 30. It was continuously rising this whole time. So how many pizzas do we say Pete should produce? We said he should produce 3 pizzas. Now that's no accident. This is a red light, green light situation. Pete should keep producing pizzas so long as the marginal revenue that he gets from the next pizza is greater than the marginal cost of producing the next pizza, which is definitely true here, right? Huge difference. It's a little true here, a little true there, but in any of these cases, marginal revenue is greater than marginal cost. And if you're going to get more money from making that next pizza than it's going to cost you to make that next pizza, you should make that pizza because it's going to be adding to your total profit the whole time. Of course, the fourth pizza, that's no good, right? Because the marginal cost of producing that one is 20 and the marginal revenue you're going to get from it is 18. So hear me, it's going to give you $18 of revenue, but it's going to cost you $20 to make. Should you make it? No way. Cost exceeds revenue. Over here, this pizza is going to cost you $25 to make. It's only going to give you $18 of revenue. Definitely don't make that one. And then this final pizza, the sixth pizza, is going to cost you $30 to make, but it's only going to give you $18 worth of revenue. You should absolutely not make that pizza. So the rule here that we can derive from this is the profit maximization rule. Produce a quantity where marginal revenue equals marginal cost. MR equals MC. That is the profit maximization rule, which in any economics, microeconomics course you take is going to be tremendously important. Now you might notice in the previous graph that we just saw, there was no quantity where those two things were exactly equal, right? They were equal to each other here, right there, but that wasn't any kind of quantity of pizzas that we could produce. That was like a fraction of a pizza. So if you can't produce where the marginal revenue equals the marginal cost, keep producing until you get to that point. So produce the greatest quantity where marginal revenue is greater than marginal cost, right? It's a green light. If marginal revenue is greater than marginal cost, that's a signal to you as a producer to keep on producing because your goal, like every firm's goal, is to maximize profit. So MR equals MC, marginal revenue equals marginal cost, is the most important rule here. And the reason why all this is so important is this is going to help us build a supply curve. So this is the marginal cost curve for Pete's Pizza. We've already seen this. And let's kind of go through an exercise here to see why a supply curve is upward sloping. So let's imagine that the market price of a pizza was $5. So price is the same as marginal revenue, as we've established in the revenue video. And so the question becomes, what would be the profit maximizing quantity of pizzas to produce if this was the case? Well, look where the curves cross. That's where they're equal. So if the price of a pizza is $5, the profit maximizing quantity is 1 pizza. But let's imagine now that the price of a pizza was $10. In other words, the marginal revenue from selling each pizza is $10. What's the profit maximizing quantity now? It's 2. Right? So as the price of the thing rose, the firm's profit maximizing quantity got higher. Get rid of that one. Let's say that the marginal revenue is 15. The price of a pizza is 15. What's the profit maximizing quantity now? It's 3. So again, price gets higher, quantity supplied is going to get higher. I said quantity produced on the slide here, but it's the same thing. Because again, in a perfectly competitive firm, if you make it, someone's going to buy it. Keep going. As the price goes up, the profit maximizing quantity gets higher. So there's a positive relationship here between price and quantity produced. And so that's why a supply curve looks the way that it does. So you can see as we go through this thing, right? When price goes up, profit maximizing quantity goes up. So that's how the idea of profit is related to the supply curve as well as cost and revenue. Thanks for watching.